Hi everyone, welcome to game week 8 of the Top Football Predictions, and here with Atul Jani as always.
Hi there pundits, let's get on with it.
Another good week, mate, wasn't it? It really was. It was. We saw some nice scores going, and not the bombastic scores of like 200-300s that we had in, I think it was game week 6, but some nice scores nonetheless.
Yeah, it settled down, and the score range was a lot more closer. You know, as you can see, there's like loads of people who did get like the 100, but then there was lots of people in the 75, 65, 55s, etc., etc. So it kept it really close, and I think it reined in the leaders as well in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Pendro scored 100 points, which again he's starting to do well, isn't he? He got to 105 a good few weeks back, and then he dipped off, I think. But I also got 100, which saves me from moaning once again. But yeah, I think that's my highest score this season as well.
Yeah.
But
Craig also joins you guys as well.
Craig has, and he scored 115 a couple of weeks back. But he's started to pick up again, hasn't he? Really?
Yeah. I mean, it showed that in different form, and may continue on the right path up. Really.
Yep. Alessandro 75, and we've got some good players going on. I think Daniel and Danny Atware got 70 points. So there's been some nice consistent scoring, because those points added to the ones they've got in the previous weeks, they've got some consistency going on, those two, haven't they?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, they're slowly but surely making that climb and making that move up the table, which is really good. It's positive. Everyone's getting points.
Oh, absolutely. And you talk about the points, mate. We've had very interesting. The guys will see the updated stats, but we've had Craig Shakespeare going the last 24 hours from Leicester City. Don't know who they're going to bring in, but it's almost irrelevant, because what it means for the predictions, mate, it means that we've got some bonus points going on, some sack race bonus points which people have got there. And Mads in that category, he's got 200. He's been the champion in that category so far.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, at the end of the day, he seems to have picked out the right choices at this.
Brilliant.
It's really quite surprising.
And it's the bonus points what makes it, isn't it, mate?
Well, this is it. I mean, if you look at the table itself, I know he's languishing near the bottom, but as we always say, those bonus points will count, and at the end of the day, it can all add up, you know.
Absolutely, mate. But if we talk about the other end of the table, Ricardo's still out front, 755. You're 15 points back. And then we've got Gary and Danny Atware in a tussle, joined in third place. It's pretty close, isn't it?
Oh, mate, it is indeed. I mean, if you look at it, if you look at the bonus, including the bonus points, you know, you've got about 6-7 people just over the 100 mark, and you know, and it's really close. You know, it's between first and sixth, there's only 50 points, which means that if you get a goal scorer, you know, there you go.
Absolutely,
you're up there. So it's really close, really interesting. You know, there's loads of points to play for at the end of the day. Also, you know, if you look at it in that sense as well, this game week was also the cup as well.
Oh, mate, you spoke about that. We've got some cup details for you, but I think was it Group 8? Danny Atware and Pendra started really well, didn't they? They both got 3 points, which is always a good thing to get off to a good start in the cup, isn't it, mate?
It's important. Listen, it's always important with these cup games is to get onto the board, get scoring, get picking up points. You know, it just makes it easier when it comes towards the business part of it as well. If you have that little bit of cushion, it helps a lot at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Group B, I was pretty pleased to pick up some points myself, actually. Just looking at it, we got Tom also got 3 points as well. But it's not the end of the world, but it's nice to get off to a good start, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, that's the key to it. I mean, it's good to have that start. You know, it's good to get the points on the board. But you know, it's only one win away from, you know, being up to the top part of the table. You know, so at the end of the day, it's still a lot to play for.
Yeah, feels good though beating a rival in the cup. And I know Akram is doing well this season, isn't he? And he's got 3 points straight off the bat on the cup. Daniel Ledley in that group, which is Group C, of course. Some teams haven't played, obviously. I know, or I call them teams. Some players haven't played yet, but it still is all to play for. But as I say, it is important to get off to that good start.
It is, and traditionally Akram is a bit of a cup player in that sense as well. You know, he does pull on his best performance in the cup. And speaking of performances, you've got the reigning champion in Group D, Gary, who's already set his marker, and he's got off to a good start as well. So well done, mate. You know.
Well, you've got like reigning champion of the cup and reigning champion of the league in that one, and you and Gary have both got off to 3 points. Gary versus Frank's going to be interesting, as we've mentioned before in the videos, all the way. But yeah, those two straight into the first cup game of the season, and Frank unfortunately came off the worser of the two. But
there's loads to play for at the end of the day, as you rightfully point out. The likes of Mads and Craig, for example, yet to.
Some players haven't played.
Exactly.
They're sitting pretty in the middle of all of that.
Still got to make their entry into the competition. There you go, mate.
We should be like boxing, mate. You should have players going into the ring with their designated music and stuff. But no, looking at the old league table again, mate. I mean, you've also got. Lee's doing well. As I said, Daniel Ledley and Tom, they're locked on 650 points, 5 points back. You've got Dan Bullock. Dan Bullock, really good player at this predictions game. Hasn't really made a mark this season though, but there's more to come, isn't there?
Believe me, I mean, Dan's got some pedigree there at the end of the day. If you look at it, he's just mid-table, really, to be honest. And he's only, about 100 points away? Again, in predictions this season, 100 points isn't really a lot.
And in between all of that, just behind, in 5th place, behind Danny Atware and Gary for 3rd place, you've got Martin. It's his first season. He's doing well. He's surprised with some of his predictions. He's been getting some 30-point ones off the bat, so that's been pretty good. Anybody else caught your eye?
You got the likes of Alessandro and Riccardo, the Italian contingent. They are really doing well. They're jostling around. You can see Riccardo obviously is leading the Dash for Cash at the moment, and Alessandro as well. They're in good positions at the end of the day. Again, Pendra, Gavin's always there. Slowly but surely you can start seeing him making that move up the table. It's still too early days to say, who stands out, but the newbies have actually done well and they've taken a lot of keen interest, so hats off to you guys.
Absolutely, and with some renewed interest for myself now that I've actually got 3 digits in one game week, I'm actually going to really go for game week 9, see if I can get some points on the board.
This is your year.
Oh yeah, don't want that wooden spoon. But, game week 9, we mentioned game week 9. In actual fact, game week 9 is interesting because I did mention it on the WhatsApp. We start this Friday.
Yes, indeed.
And it's, what have we got? We've got West Ham, Brighton.
Yes, indeed.
Both need points, really, don't they, to be fair? Both managers, I wouldn't say they're under threat, but they're kind of in the red zone, aren't they? And we're not talking NFL, but we're talking about if they don't start picking up some wins soon, just seeing what happened to Craig Shakespeare, you never know.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think, to be honest, Slaven has a bit more of a pressure. There's more expectation.
Yeah.
They're more of an established Premiership team, West Ham, and they have spent shoring up their defences, etc., etc. So the pressure's there. But Chris Hughton goes for Brighton at the end of the day. There's no real anticipation or expectation. They're probably expected to be relegated more than anything else, and they've put in some few decent performances. But what's going to be fascinating is trying to get the goal scorer. That's where the bonus points come in, Pandit. So
do you know what?
Really study that for.
I've never got one of those, but it's. I think we mentioned in predictions towers, didn't we? And some people mentioned on the WhatsApp group. Oh, it might be West Ham again, or it's Chelsea again. It's not a foregone conclusion at the moment, is it? It really isn't. Every game to game, I know that we had Spurs a couple of weeks on the trot back to back, but it wasn't Kane in both games. What have we got this time? We've actually got, it's the West Ham Brighton game, haven't we? That's the one. So, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily you just go for like Andy Carroll or someone if he's actually not injured, but I don't think there's a foregone conclusion in this one either, mate. I think it could be anybody.
And this is what makes it more fascinating, especially with the prediction supercomputer picking this game at the end of the day. It makes you think, it makes you study the form, makes you look at the strikers, makes you sort of like pay more attention to these games. And this is the brilliant thing about this opportunity. Obviously, you've got points in to be made there. But that's not the only game. We've got quite a few other ones, haven't we, Marky?
Well, yeah, but as you mentioned, the prediction supercomputer, I must just have a word with you offline, because that little Cambodian girl for £6 an hour, she wants a pound pay rise, but we'll talk about that another day. We've got the Newcastle versus Palace game, mate, which is the hot shot game. I was lucky enough to pick up 90 points and get the hot shot in game week 8, and I tell you what, it means everything, that hot shot. 90 points. And I guess even more if you chose a goal fest on that and it came off. God, that could be a lot more points. But I don't know. Palace have they turned the corner from beating Chelsea and Newcastle. They're up for sale. Who's you going to buy them, mate? I don't know what's going on.
Oh well, I was speaking to FIFA about it the other day, and the FA. At the moment, I'm looking at the books. My accountants are looking at the books and
doing your due diligence, aren't you, mate?
Due diligence and fit for purpose. So
it's got loads of money.
At the end of the day, if I do win predictions this year, then I'll be putting in a serious bid for Newcastle. But it's going to be an interesting game, fascinating. Both teams. It's a hard one to call. It depends which team turns up on what day. So let's see what happens.
Mate, I'll tell you something else as well. I was obviously disappointed Arsenal lost to Watford, and Watford go to Chelsea this weekend, right? I was listening to Troy Deeney's comments and stuff. Do you know what? They can get in about and amongst them. And you'd naturally think that Chelsea might win, but I could see a draw in that one, couldn't you? Chelsea-Watford.
Yeah, I mean, nothing surprises me. I wouldn't even be surprised if Watford come away with a 3-pointer from there as well. You know, it's difficult. There's a lot of games being played as well, especially for the big boys at the end of the day. And this is where it's important to have a decent squad. And if you've got injuries, you know, that can play a lot of havoc because they're trying to battle on 3 or 4 fronts at the end of the day. So it'll be fascinating.
You've got Man City, Burnley, and naturally Man City at home, they're playing so much football. So it's pure sexy football, and they're probably going to win. But I like Burnley. I like Sean Dyche. He's a proper man's man. He gets in there, and if you're having a bad game, like, you can just imagine being a fly on the wall in that dressing room. He would tear them off a strip. But they'll be right up for it. They'll be like their cup final going to Man City.
Listen, Burnley have been quite a surprise team in my eyes, apart from Watford as well. You know, they're no real pushovers. You know,
don't get rolled over, do they? Really?
No, not at all. And you know, I wouldn't be even surprised if City just wins by the odd goal. And to be honest, because they're very tight and they're very sort of like physical team as well. But
now Sunday, big Super 6 game. It's Spurs taking on at Wembley Liverpool. Liverpool just run past Maribor last night, 7-0. Spurs a very, very creditable 1-1. There you go, Lee. I said it. 1-1 against Real Madrid, but it's got the pickings really with rich history for a real juicy game. This one, hasn't it?
Listen, you mentioned Spurs Liverpool at Wembley. It sounds like a cup final. This could be played like a cup final. So pundits be warned. You know, at the end of the day, Spurs' form at Wembley isn't convincing in my eyes. Liverpool again depends which team turns up. If they're rampant like yesterday, then it'll make a fascinating game. You know, it's all to play for. Points are on the board, so pundits choose wisely.
Absolutely. Last bit of advice on going into game week 9. Obviously, get your predictions in early because this game week does start on Friday. Sometimes when there's a Friday start, if you just want to send Friday's one over, and then on Saturday take time to send the rest in. But last piece of advice for players looking to pick up points in game week 9, mate.
Well, study the form. Also look at the teams as well. Most importantly, you can pick up decent points in the goal scorer as well. You know, follow your heart. You know, not always your head as well. So, you know, if you've got that gut instinct that they're going to win by 20 goals, and put 20 goals down. Don't feel the fear and do it anyway.
Don't feel the fear, do it anyway. That's what the man said. Have a good week. Get your predictions in early, and let's go for game week 9.
Good luck, pundits.